Hey guys, yeah, I am recording this on my phone. As you can see, I am recording this on my phone. I wanted to come on here, and hopefully third time's a charm here because it'd be the third time recording this. But one question I'm sure a lot of content creators, get asked is, the same question I'm sure people wonder about me. And that is why during certain times of the year, mostly like spring and summer and sometimes Christmas, why do we sometimes, if not most often, upload content but set it to premiere days later, like weeks and days later? Why do we do that? Well, it's real simple why we do that. We do that mainly because of the fact that we know life takes precedent. Family takes precedent. Things that are more important than content creating takes precedent. But that doesn't mean we want to give that up. We want to basically provide the content, but we know that during certain times of the year, like the summer, like the spring, like Christmas and so on, where you have breaks, seasonal and holiday breaks, again, we don't want to give up the content creating and providing you guys with content, but what we want to do is make sure that we provide you with that, but also focus on what's important outside of that. That's what I'm trying to get to. And I know it sounds like I'm rambling and all that. I'm trying to do this as best as I can because we're at that time of year. And again, for those of you that have followed me for 17 years, you know what I'm talking about, especially in these last 2 days of the school year. We're at that time frame to where basically between now and 5:30 or now and 6, things are going to be different. I'll put it that way. But again, the reason we do this is primarily because we again don't want to go without giving you guys content, but we also want to make sure that we put a primary focus on what is important, on the family, on family, on not just family, but everything important outside of content creating. That's what I'm trying to say. This is what happens when you do things. A lot of you know this from watching me for 17 years, almost 2 decades. You know that, I'm an unscripted guy. I'll just say stuff that's on the fly. And sometimes, I'll just have to think hard before I say something. And sometimes I'll have a brain fart here and there. And I'm sure you guys have noticed that I'm not the only content creator that does that. Anyway, like I said, though, we as content creators will do that. And sometimes you may be like, oh, there's no way AVGN would do that. There's no way Nostalgia Critic would do that. There's no way Animat or Pat the NES Punk or Linkara or Joe Vargas, Angry Joe would do that. Well, you know what? You have a right to your opinion, but there's a good chance that they do. There's a good chance that they do. And the reason for that is because, again, there are other things important outside of content creating that makes them want to focus primarily on that than providing content for you on a daily basis. But again, the crazy thing about this is the fact that content creating can still be viewed. We can still share content with you guys on a daily basis. It's just that it's content that's going to be uploaded days in advance to premiere days later, if not weeks later. That's why when you look at my channel recently, you're seeing 3, if not 4 by now, videos uploaded for premiere within the next week. And the reason for that, again, I know I got to emphasize, I have to emphasize, but again, it's because we as content creators go through a certain time of the year. And again, those of you that have followed me know what that means. You know what that means. So basically, long story short, when it comes to uploading videos primarily to debut and premiere weeks and, days and weeks, if not months later from when they are uploaded, it's not because, we have other projects to work on. We do. I mean, Joe Vargas does, Linkara, AVGN, you name it. But it's not just that, but it's also the fact that, there's a lot of things that take precedent during these times of years. Like during the summer, and even Christmas and somewhat the spring, but mostly the summer and Christmas, family takes precedent. Family and whatever you're doing with them is more important. But it doesn't mean, it doesn't mean content creators have to just not do content or provide content for the fans, or the subscribers. It just means we have to work around that. We have to basically say, all right, how do we give them content, even though we might be busy on these days to where we normally would do it on a daily basis? And basically the best way to do it is to upload that content, days and weeks and months in advance, so that you guys have that content to watch when it debuts in a premiere session or just shows up. So that's why we do it, because we want to put precedent what's more important outside of just us giving you daily content, every day or every other day or every other week or every week. So that's what we do. So that's the reason for it. Now, is there a chance that content creators could try to get you content on the day they make it? Yeah. The best way of doing that is finding opportunities. Like, for example, if you live with your, the patriarch and matriarch, or you live with siblings or cousins or grandparents, or you dorm with people, the best way to really get opportunities to do any of what you want to do, content creation wise, that you want to upload on the day you make it, is to either get up early in the morning when people are still asleep, or wait till people are asleep at night, late, if you will, late in the evening into early morning, midnight, if you will, and then hopefully make some content without interruption. The other way you could look at it is look at opportunities outside of those two. The other opportunities could be, hey, they're watching a ball game and they might get so enticed in that, intertwined and enticed with that ball game, that basically you don't have to worry about any interruptions. Same thing if they're watching a show, like with my family, and I'm sure other families are looking forward to this. This Sunday's the Chosen season 5 premiere. So, they might get, entwined with that. So you get the idea. Basically, when you see things like that, it's opportunities. Like I said, it's the same thing when you get up in the morning or stay up late at night. It's about opportunities and all that. Now, I'm not saying those opportunities are going to go as you would plan or hope for, because sometimes you might get asked by someone to explain a situation. Like if they're watching a ball game, they might want you to explain to them what this statistic means or what this rule means and stuff like that. Or if they're watching a show or a movie and they want to point something out to you and say, look at this, look at that, and all that, and everything, that takes precedent. That takes precedent over your content creation, which means those opportunities cease to be. Those opportunities cease to be. But if you still want to go through with your content creation, you want to make sure that whatever software you're using, camera-wise or recording-wise, has a pause button. Like this here, this camera I'm using has a pause button right there. It has a pause button, right there, if you will. It has a pause button. I don't know if you can see that, but it has a pause button, if you will. Yeah, it has a. Again, I don't even know if you can see that really, because I'd have to flip it over and everything. But oh yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, it has a pause button. It has a. In fact, let me see if I got it. Let me see if I can mirror this somehow. I know. Hold on. But like I was saying, it has. If you can see that really well, but as you can see right there, it has a pause button. It has a pause button on it. And by having a pause button, if you want to continue resuming where you left off, hopefully not forgetting anything, you can do that, and you can still hopefully get that. You can get that video or whatever topic you want to talk about out to everybody on that day. Again, opportunities. You got to look for opportunities. That's what I'm alluding to. But outside of that, like I said, they're not always going to work either. Because sometimes you might be asked to help with something, and your mind might be like, this will take about 5, 10 minutes. And all of a sudden, it takes longer. So what you need to do is the moment you pause, you If you have something that will remain on pause without issue, you're good. But if you have something that's going to take time and everything, and you don't want to maybe risk an issue or anything like that, then just stop recording and come back to it later. That's primarily what you have to do, because whatever you're being asked to do or answer and everything like that, that will take precedence. That takes importance. That takes the top priority, if you know what I mean. But yeah, basically but to answer the question again in closing, the reason people like me and others upload content to debut, if not premiere, days and weeks, if not months later from when we upload it, is because of these kind of situations. It's because of it's because of the fact that you could live with family, or you could live with friends in dorms or something like that, and sometimes they may not understand what you're doing, or they may not realize they're recording stuff right now, they're doing a live stream, and they'll interrupt you. Heck, one of the people I followed, just Alex Hicks, if you will, there was several times, there was like 1 or 2 times I remember him getting interrupted mid-live stream by family, that comes into his room or asks him to come down and do something, and he has to be like, oh, I'll be right back, or, oh, I'm sorry about that, and everything like that. But they are understanding. But the point is, these are the kind of situations, live stream or recording, mostly recording, you want to avoid. You want to avoid those kind of things. So my advice, and I'm sure like I mentioned, other more established content creators would give you that same advice. The advice overall we would give you is, if you want to make sure content gets out, but hey, there's a good chance during certain times of the year where you may not be able to get the content out you want to get out during the same day you make it, the best solution, ladies and gentlemen, is to upload in advance. Even if you're working on something project-wise, upload it in advance. So that way it will debut either as a premiere or as a regular upload, and you'll be all right. You won't have to worry about anything. But that's all I'm going to say on it, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. I know I sound like I ramble a little bit here. I do apologize. But give me your thoughts down below. Comment if you like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, share the video. Also, click on the links in the description. It helps me out tremendously, guys, when you visit the other outlets outside of YouTube that has my content on it and everything. But anyway, though, that's all I'm going to say, guys. And let me know again what your thoughts are. And until then, I am out. Peace. God bless.